Hello there, Jill Wharton here from Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, and welcome to our video newsletter. Now, if you saw the one last week, you'll remember we talked about emotions and making choices, and sometimes because of habits and belief systems, we get sucked and pulled into behaviour and thinking and feelings that we don't want. Now, before I explain this circle, which is going to be very relevant in just a minute, I just want to tell you something that happened to me on the way to getting this filmed. And I was outside and I was trying to park my car, and it was blowing a hoolie down here in Brighton. The wind and the rain was battering in from the sea, and I was actually on the seafront trying to park. Putting my money in the meter, I was another 5 minutes before I had to be at my appointment, and all the money came out. Money in again, all the money came out, run to another meter, run to another meter. This time I'm running 5 minutes over, and then I realised that my phone's in the bottom of my bag, and I started to do this rise of emotion. So thinking, oh, I'm going to be late, or I am late, I'm missing out, I'm missing the, oh God, what will they think? And I suddenly thought, do you know, I don't want to feel like this. Whatever's just gripped me, whatever belief system I have about hating being late and wasting time and all things like that, I suddenly, in that moment, decided that I was just going to do what I could and it would all be okay. And you know what the worst that could happen is that I missed 10, 15, 20 minutes of a session, of a recording session. And, you know, so I arrived here just feeling great. And so just a little example there of how this sort of thing happens to everybody in everyday life. And just to go over what we did last week, in any moment, in any given time, we have a choice of how we want to feel. Okay, so you can see this here on my left hand side, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain a process that I use so often with my coaching clients to help them both develop their goals and attain them. Now, it's something called the medicine wheel, and as you will see, there are various bits of information around here. So I'm going to explain what it's all about first, and then I'm going to go through with you exactly how I use it with my coaching clients. So within this wheel, what we've got, it's divided roughly into 4 different quarters. So we can see one up here as the north point, which is also equated with a time of winter. We can also see here we've got the easterly point, which can be regarded also as the point where spring comes in. So let me just add to that, if we see this as a year, then at the southerly point you can see it as summer, and then at the westerly point you can begin to imagine that as an autumn time. Now, this wheel can be put into anything. It can be put into a day, so it's 12 o'clock at night, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock midday, 6 o'clock in the evening. And you'll start to see that these areas are reflective of actually what's happening in the Western world at that time. So if we think of the North Point, and it's very cold in the furthest point of north of our globe, it's the winter time, there's nothing much blossoming up, or, you know, the energy of the earth has gone really down, everything's preparing for the time to come. So the cells and the seeds and all the sort of roots are very closed right down, there's not much activity. So we can also see this as 12 o'clock midnight. Again, for most of us, well, apart from the odd party here and there, you know, 12 o'clock is going to be a time, particularly during the week, where we're in bed and again dreaming and sleeping. It's that inward process. So the north point equates to winter. There's not much energy around, everything is going inwards, 12 o'clock in the evening, midnight. And then we come round to this easterly point, the spring point. Now, what's happening in the earth at that point of spring? And it's where all the energy starts to come up. We talk about the sap rising, and it really does. The warmth of the sun is beginning to warm the earth up, and the energy of that's going to help the nourishment of the flowers and the trees and the crops, all those things, is beginning to say, yeah, it's time for us to go. This is also a time of 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so we give or take a little bit of time, but for most people around about that time, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, something like that, we're beginning to get our energy together, and our energy is beginning to rise, or should be beginning to rise, for the activities of the day ahead. Then we come to this south point, which is the high summer. These can also be seen as the festival points, by the way. So we can have there as the winter solstice just before Christmas. Here is the Easter cycle, where in Christian religion we see the death of something coming in and being reborn. So in other many other religions, we see around this period of time a time of transformation and renewal, and renewing our dedications to whatever our dreams or our goals might be. So then coming back to the summer, and again that's time for family, time for friends, all that activity in the summer, you know, meeting people, being out there in the sunshine, people who are farming, really working hard on the land because there's so much to do, all this stuff that's growing and needs attention. So then we come around to the afternoon and coming up towards 6 o'clock in the evening, and that's a time when the activities of the day, you know, traditionally begin to sort of wind down. Also, if you see this in as a year, this is coming up to around about September time. So it's when the crops are coming in, there's not so much activity, and there's a period of thankfulness and just less putting stuff out there, and beginning to come around after the thankfulness into this north point. Okay, so you may ask, how on earth do I use this when I'm working with my clients who I'm coaching? Well, we are now in January, and any of you who may have set goals so far, some of you may be doing really, really well. January 2015, last week in January. So you've had 3 or 4 weeks now of working towards those goals, and some of you may be doing really, really well. But I wonder if any of you are having just that bit of resistance, or if you're trying to not eat or not drink, you're thinking, oh, I just want that drink, or I want those cakes, and you're just getting a bit of resistance. Or you're thinking, well, nothing's really changing. I thought I was going to, you know, feel a brand new person, and I was going to do this and do that, and nothing seems to be shifting. Well, let me tell you that Christmas for me is a little bit like this. I don't know about you guys, but it's a time of frenetic activity. Don't get me wrong, some fantastic times, really, really lovely, with family and friends, just fabulous. But it's busy. And so what happens is people do all that activity over Christmas, party for the new year, then the next day they wake up and think, oh, brand new me, I'm not going to drink, not going to smoke, I'm going to go for that new job, I'm going to learn that new language. And a few weeks later they're going, oh, I can't do it, I just don't have the motivation. And that's because just after Christmas is this time, really, because there's so much activity. So I work with a lot of clients I work with, I say, look, just start to set your goals in February, because this is a time of inner reflection. If you've made a goal and you've not done any of the checking it out, is this really right for me? Is this way ahead right for me? Is this relationship good for me to continue? Is this job okay? Is that promotion what I really want? Do I really want to go on that particular diet? Yeah, I want to lose weight, but if they've done no research and nothing to support the beginnings of the activity will falter, because you haven't done this inner reflection. Is this right for me? Yeah. We've also got a very interesting little gate. This clock can be, or this wheel can be divided again into 8. And here we've got a a gate of what we call dedication or intent. And once you've done that inner reflective work and you've really checked it out, that yeah, it makes you feel good thinking of what you're wanting to do, that it's absolutely your passion to do that, yeah, it really sort of builds a sense of purpose for you. If you've not had that kind of feeling, and you've said, right, this is what I am going to do, and you have made those promises to yourself, and you have done your homework, you've got the support that you needed, you've done your research, and you've put things in place to make it happen, that can be carried through by willpower alone. But the minute you come towards here, resistance starts to hit as the inside of you, the higher part of you, if you like, starts to get, nah, not feeling great. And so suddenly the motivation, the dedication and all that, you know, it just doesn't feel great, and that motivation and dedication wanes, and all that activity may or may not have been wasted. So I also use it when somebody, for instance, is, say for instance, when I'm working with senior management teams, when they're overseeing big projects, when I see people who are looking after the relationships. If it's a very, very large project that's being done, very often you have people who just oversee the relationships and how people are communicating with each other. Very often the project will start here. There won't be very much planning done here. So all this, which the senior management teams or people should have done, that reflection, is this right for the company? Is it where we really want to go? Does it marry with our business? Does this stuff on our business plan marry with the future of what we believe the company should be, where it should be heading? They come to here and everybody's all over the place, because there's been no reflection as the body, as a company. There's been no dedication of teams, of commitment of staff. So we get here and the activity starts and nobody knows what they're doing. And again, this is where I often get bought into companies, in this sort of area where there's masses of activity and nothing is working, nothing's moving ahead. And I can bet you bottom dollar it's almost always because this phase hasn't been done. Lastly, if you're thinking of going self-employed and you want to create something which is really meaningful in your life, you've got that rumblings. A lot of people have that at the moment. A lot of women who I see have got this real rumbling that there's something else in life, there's something more. Let's look at the process here, and it would be that you go into this reflective space, whether you want to set up, or maybe you look at what really pleases you in life, what brings you meaning. Is it working with children? Is it working to help other people? Is it in money and finances? What is it that really rocks your boat? And you can't do that if you're just running around like a headless chicken. You've got to come into this reflective space. So what does that mean? It means taking time out, taking time out to dedicate to yourself, maybe the odd day, the odd few hours here and there, where you can really reflect and get in tune with whether what's in your head is right for your heart. So really work on that. It also might mean that there are a series of things that you might have to do. So you've got an idea of this career or your passion, you've really got in touch with your purpose, and it might be that you've got to increase your skill set. It might be that you've got to learn a bit about money, a bit about business, get out, network, get some skills and information from other people, other organisations. But the problem with a lot of people who have a great idea and they check it out and they know it's right for them and it is right for them, is they stay here. And there's all this activity and they get burnt out. So there's no going back to, oh, thankful, oh, what a great day that was. Oh, what a great few weeks. I've really achieved this, this and this. And now just having a few hours or half a day where you reflect on what you've done. Again, that winter period, reflect on what's gone by, look to what's happening in the next few weeks, and really doing that inner reflection before you start this again. So just remember that whatever you're wanting to do in your life, whatever your passions are, whatever your goals, whatever your purpose, remember that all of these aspects will play a vital role in you reaching what you want to do, really manifesting your dreams and your goals. Hope that's been helpful, and post comments just below the video. We love to hear from you, and I try and get back to each and every one of you. Thank you.